Ju Yang and I have been married for 2 years. I'm completely obsessed with him. He despises me. How deep does his hatred run? I was in a car accident, broke multiple bones, and spent 6 months recovering at their hospital. Despite being an orthopedic surgeon himself, he never once came to see me. No one liked me either. Everyone said I drove Lin Tang away, that I had a heart of stone. Right after the accident, when I lost the ability to move, everyone around me thought he was better off without me. Ju Yang, you're finally getting a break. As I was about to be discharged from the hospital, all his friends were sweating bullets for him. Chen Han's being discharged from the hospital. Ju Yang's about to get tormented again. True enough, the first thing I did after being discharged from the hospital was to find Ju Yang. But this time, I wasn't there to pester him. Instead, I handed him a document. Ju Yang, this is what you wanted. What? I gave a light, graceful smile. Open it and you'll see. Ju Yang, I don't want the house or the car. I wish you greater success in the future. Let's go our separate ways and never cross paths again. After handing over the divorce papers, I stepped back and melted into the crowd. 1. Nurse, what's the story with the patient next door? Why hasn't anyone come to visit? Probably did too many rotten things in her life. People tend to steer clear of that sort, even while unconscious. I could hear every word of their conversation, but in the dark abyss of unconsciousness, I strained with every fiber of my being to wake up, yet remained trapped. After countless failed attempts, the clatter of a cup hitting the floor next door finally jolted my eyes open. Oh, you're awake, dear, the woman exclaimed with a start. I stared at the ceiling above me, completely paralyzed. Miss, my apologies, it was me dropping the cup that startled you awake, wasn't it? No. I should be thanking her for dropping that cup. It was the jolt of fright that finally pulled me back to consciousness. No one could understand the sheer terror I felt trapped in that dark world of unconsciousness. 2. The news of my awakening soon reached the doctors. They came to examine me and said it was a good thing I had finally woken up. But among all the white coats, I didn't see Ju Yang. While I was unconscious, I never heard his voice. When I woke up, he was nowhere to be seen. Where's Ju Yang? The doctors exchanged glances. Dr. Ju, he's in surgery right now and can't come over. I see. How's my condition? During the accident, you hit the back of your head, causing significant bleeding in the brain. That's why you were in a coma. You also fractured your right arm and severely broke your left thigh, with additional fractures and soft tissue injuries throughout your body. To put it simply, you were badly hurt, as of yesterday. You've been unconscious for 40 days. Fortunately, you received prompt medical attention. The brain hemorrhage has been gradually reabsorbing, and we've performed surgery on your fractures, applied casts. Everything is slowly improving now. 3. At dinner time, the lady next door turned to me while feeding her husband. Young lady, who is this Dr. Ju you keep mentioning? Someone important to you? He is my husband. What kind of surgery takes 8 hours? Your partner woke up and you didn't even have time to check on them. I shook my head. We're just acquaintances. I see. What about your family? The only person taking care of me here is a nursing aide. While I was unconscious, it was this aide who bathed me, handled catheterization, all of it. I doubt there's anyone in this entire hospital worse off than me. I made up an excuse. They're all in another city, and with their health issues, they just can't make it here. My parents divorced when I was in middle school because my father had an affair. I was placed in my father's custody. My mother was so devastated that she moved overseas. My father was a businessman constantly flying between cities. Aside from loading up my allowance card, he had no time to actually care for me. Oh, that's right. 3 years ago, he and his new wife had a son together. I was the one who pursued Ju Yang. Well, not exactly pursued. What I mean is, he did grow to like me eventually. But after we got married, he remained as cold as ice toward me. He never showed me even a fraction of the tenderness he gave to Lin Tang. Perhaps if Lin Tang hadn't left, he would have married her instead. Oh my, the blood is flowing back into the tube, exclaimed the caregiver who had brought my meal. Sounding alarmed, I turned to look and saw that the section of tubing connected to the 4-needle in my hand was completely filled with blood. The caregiver immediately pressed the call button for me. The nurse who came was none other than my old high school classmate, Wu Li. The impatience in her eyes was written all over her face as she roughly tore the tape off my hand and pulled out the needle. Honestly, back in our class, almost everyone would curse me behind my back, calling me a seductress, vicious, and saying I was throwing my weight around. She changed the tube and left right after. Both the caregiver and the lady next door couldn't stand to watch any longer. The caregiver picked up the meal, ready to feed me, and said something. Maybe she's just in a bad mood. No, I've noticed it specifically towards young women that she's rude. When us old folks need our prescriptions changed, she's perfectly civil. I didn't say anything else, just told him, "Could you buy me a small bedside table? I'll put my meals on it and eat by myself. My right arm is still in a cast, so I can only move my left hand." In the past, if Wu Li had treated me like this, I would have made sure she paid for it, but now, I just don't have the energy to argue. 5. When Zhu Yang walked in, I was all trussed up like a mummy, clumsily trying to eat. Eating with my left hand felt awkward and unnatural. The moment he walked in, my spoon froze mid-air. I must have looked utterly pathetic in that moment. He glanced at me, then turned his gaze to the man in the next bed. What's going on? So he was here to see the patient next to me. I lowered my head and continued feeding mechanically, my entire body feeling numb. "Doctor, thank you for coming. My wife says her elbow suddenly started hurting terribly." Zhu Yang adjusted the cast for the elderly man next door. "Does that feel any better?" "Much better. The pain has eased up a lot." The older woman asked with a puzzled look. "Did you change doctors? Wasn't it Dr. Liu before? He's dealing with a family matter. I'm covering his shifts for a couple of days." "Oh, I see. You look so young for a doctor at Third Hospital. Quite impressive for someone your age. Do you have a girlfriend?" Zhu Yang sidestepped the older sister's question. The cast was applied too tightly earlier, putting pressure on the elbow and causing the pain. "If this happens again, be sure to call a doctor right away." The neighbor was taken care of. It seems he hasn't left yet. I kept my head down, mechanically spooning food, when a pair of white shoes appeared by my bedside. A nurse came running over. "Dr. Zhu, emergency case." The white shoes that had appeared in my line of sight vanished once again. I gazed into the darkness outside and sniffled. 6. After that, Zhu Yang never came to see me again. Dr. Liu is back, so he doesn't need to cover the shift anymore. All patients in these beds are under Dr. Liu's care. I heard there was a multi-vehicle collision that night, with many people injured. Also heard that Zhu Yang went to another provincial hospital for an exchange program. Shortly after his return, another major fire broke out in the city, leaving hospitals overcrowded. Later, I heard he was sent abroad for further training. In short, he was constantly swamped. The hospital bed next to mine saw a constant stream of new patients. Once I could get out of bed, I threw myself into physical therapy. I was determined to stand on my own 2 feet again, just like any able-bodied person. No matter how grueling the rehab got, I gritted my teeth and pushed through it alongside the other patients in that therapy room. Of course, during that time, I became the laughingstock of my old social circle. That arrogant ice queen is now bedridden after a car accident, completely dependent on others for every little thing. We were all medical students at Zhengzhou University back then, but during my internship, I injured my hand and had to give up my dream of becoming a surgeon. Several of my former classmates ended up working at the Third Hospital. Yet no one pities me, they all see it as my just deserts. After all, everyone believes it was my domineering attitude that drove Lin Tang away, forcing her to go abroad. 7. You're moving completely normally now, excellent. 4 months later, when I finally walked unaided for a stretch, my physical therapist applauded. "Thank you for being by my side. It's your own incredible resilience. Truly, you suffered a severe comminuted fracture in your thigh, but you're the only person I've ever seen who never once cried out in pain throughout the entire long recovery process." I gave a faint smile, choosing to remain silent. I was discharged from the hospital. After completing the discharge procedures, I took a taxi and left the hospital. It had been nearly 6 months since I last returned. I paused for a moment before pressing my finger to the biometric lock. As I opened the door, the musty scent of dust greeted me. Just as I'd suspected, Zhu Yang hadn't been coming back often either. I tidied up the sofa and opened the lean pork congee I bought downstairs in our residential complex. I had just taken a couple of bites when my phone vibrated again. Reading the messages in the group chat, I fell silent. Chen Han has been discharged from the hospital. Damn, discharged already. I thought the injuries were serious. She's going to start clinging to Ju Yang again. He must have owed her from a past life to be stuck with her like this. Stop talking about it. She's still in this group chat. If she sees this, watch out for payback. Oh crap, wrong group chat. The message in the group chat was swiftly retracted again. I turned off my phone and finished the bowl of kanji. I slept alone that night. Ju Yang never came back. At daybreak, I lifted my stiff hand to shield my eyes, paused for a moment to gather myself, then got up and got dressed. I grabbed the things from the coffee table and headed out. Just before closing the door, I paused for a moment to take one last look at the meticulously designed 3-bedroom apartment, with a final pull. The door shut behind me as I left. 8. I spotted Ju Yang outside the orthopedic ward's corridor. They had just wrapped up the morning meeting, and a group of white coats streamed out of the conference room. When he noticed me, his page-turning hand froze mid-action. The doctor beside him glanced our way, then tactfully took the lead and walked off. I don't know why I could still manage a smile as I walked toward him. Perhaps I should just be grateful that I recovered well and didn't end up disabled. Or maybe I've just come to terms with it all. He had naturally flawless skin, and though faint shadows lingered under his eyes, they did nothing to diminish his perfectly sculpted face. He explained to me, "Sorry, I had 3 surgeries yesterday. By the time I finished, you had already completed the discharge procedures and left the hospital." I nodded and handed him the documents I was holding. "This is for you." "What?" A flicker of confusion passed through his eyes. I shrugged and gave a relieved smile. "Open it and you'll see. It's what you wanted. Ju Yang, I don't want the house or the car. I wish you greater success in the future. Let's go our separate ways and never cross paths again." After submitting the divorce papers, I stepped back and disappeared into the crowd. 9. At the airport, I took out my phone and removed the pinned contact, left the class group chat, moved to a small town. After landing that evening, I dropped in on my cousin who was home alone with her child. "Mom, it's Auntie." My cousin came out from the kitchen and glanced at my suitcase. "Trouble in paradise." "We're over, but you love him so much." I gave a bitter smile. Love requires effort from both sides. When one person gives unconditionally, it's just self-indulgence and might even burden the other person. So you finally get it. "You fool, he's not worth it." In the middle of the night, sleepless, I sat on the windowsill watching the road below. There was a sound behind me. "Why are you still awake?" "Can't sleep. I'll try to get some rest soon." My cousin wrapped her arms around me and gently touched her forehead to mine. "Why does everything go wrong? I dreamed of becoming a surgeon, then I injure my hand, finally meet someone I really like, and he turns out to be so heartless." I stared blankly at the streetlights outside, lost in thought. "Tell me, if he hates me so much, why did he marry me? I just don't get it. It's not like I forced him to marry me. You know, let's drop it. Forget about him and move on with your life." "Yeah. I've made up my mind. I'm going to settle down here and open a pharmacy." "Sounds good. Are you looking for partners?" "I'd like to invest." "We are." We shared a laugh. 6 months later, the pharmacy was successfully opened. My cousin and I take turns minding the shop. Life moves at a leisurely pace in this small town. As time goes by, many things in my memory have started to fade. 10. One afternoon, Tang Tang brought me my phone. "Auntie, your phone call. Good girl, I'm getting married. Will you come to my wedding?" Zhong Xin was the only friend I had during my college years. "Where will the wedding be held?" "Definitely in Jingju. You absolutely have to come. You know I don't have many friends, and I'd be really disappointed if you weren't there." "Alright, send me the hotel address." A year has passed. I've let go of some things, and others have moved on even more. In the banquet hall, Zhong Xin rushed out with her makeup only half done. "I'm really glad you could make it." We shared a gentle hug. "Of course I'd come to your wedding." "Silly, I've heard about you and Ju Yang. I know you've left Jingju. Today's your big day, don't worry about me. Go finish your makeup. The ceremony's about to start." After Zhong Xin left, I picked up a glass of red wine, swirled it gently, and took a small sip. "Everyone's here." I never realized before how influential all the top experts from the hospital have shown up. "Lucky you picked a weekend for this." Otherwise we probably couldn't have all made it. See, even Ju Yang, who's always swamped with work, managed to come. The conversation at the door drifted in, and the wine in my mouth tasted slightly bitter. I hadn't realized that Wei Tong had also moved to the third hospital. Quite a few people from there showed up today. I glanced over and unexpectedly locked eyes with Ju Yang for a moment. Ju Yang, what are you looking at? All eyes turned toward me, and everyone noticed my presence, a collective gaze of mild astonishment. Ju Yang averted his gaze and took out his wallet to give a gift. When I saw clearly who was standing beside him, also giving a gift, even though I was mentally prepared, I still froze for a moment. Lin Tang is back. But the hesitation lasted only a moment. I averted my gaze and looked out the window at a cluster of wisteria blossoms. As the breeze rustled through them, the lingering tension seemed to dissolve. Ever since they started university, people had been saying they were a match made in heaven, for the two of them. The storm has finally passed and the moon shines bright. As the wedding banquet commenced, guests took their seats in orderly fashion. The third hospital staff were seated together at one table. The groom's a doctor from third hospital. Doctors are such a hot commodity these days. See that table over there, all the groom's colleagues. If you know any single ladies, now's your chance to get their WeChat. Too bad the handsome doctor's probably taken. The woman next to him must be his girlfriend. The music started, marking the beginning of the wedding ceremony. The ceremony concluded, and after the banquet, everyone went their separate ways. Footsteps approached. You've been gone for a whole year. If it weren't for Zhongshin's wedding, would you even have come back? Surprisingly, Ju Yang came over holding a glass of wine, dressed in a black suit. His striking presence was unmistakable. I didn't expect him to come over and greet me on his own initiative. We exchanged a glance. Come back. This place was never my home. No home. I noticed Lin Tang looking over, and I could see the concern in her eyes. I picked up a dessert. Sorry, it seems we don't have much to talk about. I stepped away from the dessert table. I checked the time, thinking I'd just say goodbye to Zhongshin before leaving. Leaving so soon, we barely had a chance to talk. Seeing you happy is all that matters to me. Zhongshin held my arm while glancing at Ju Yang and Lin Tang. Are they the reason you're in such a hurry to leave? Sorry I didn't tell you earlier. People from the third institute might show up. It's fine. I've moved past it. They won't affect me anymore. 11. I stepped out of the hotel and hailed a cab on the roadside to the airport. Chen Han, where are you headed? Just as I was about to get into the taxi, someone grabbed my arm abruptly. Startled, I turned around to see Ju Yang. The air went still. Don't go. What are you doing? I have a flight to catch. Are you getting in or not? Ju Yang called out toward the car before shutting the door. Sorry, we're not going anymore. Not going. Then why'd you hail a cab? You're wasting my time. The taxi driver drove off, grumbling under his breath. I glanced at Lin Tang, whose face had gone pale in the distance, then turned back to Ju Yang with renewed confusion. What do you mean by this? He tightened his grip on my arm. And what's your intention? We're still legally married. Where do you think you're going alone? I never signed that divorce agreement. My face tightened with visible distress. You're hurting me. He jolted awake and released his grip. 12. The hotel entrance was no place for a conversation. He drove to the seaside. I rolled down the window and gazed at the vast coastline. The briny scent of the sea drifting through the air. Why won't you sign? Isn't that what you wanted? I saw him tighten his grip on the steering wheel. What I wanted? Just say what's on your mind. His hand shot out and clamped around mine. 13. Not coming back tonight. What happened? Don't tell me you ran into Ju Yang. I took a deep breath and glanced at the man pouring water. So you really did see him. Is that why you're not coming back? Chen Han, have you lost your mind? You're like someone who forgets the pain once the wound heals. Just when you've finally started over, you're going back to get hurt by him again. Is that my cousin? Ju Yang had arrived at some point without anyone noticing. Let me take the call. He reached out and took the phone. Cousin, it's me, Ju Yang. The person on the other end of the line grew increasingly agitated, so Ju Yang took the phone out to the balcony. I averted my gaze and scanned the room. I remembered the place reeked of dust the day I left, but now it was tidy and bright. 10 minutes later, Ju Yang came back in and handed me the phone. Why aren't you drinking the floral tea? I remember you used to love brewing it. I frowned. Get some rest. We'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau first thing tomorrow. Once that's done, I need to get back to mind the shop. My cousin can't handle it alone by herself. Which room should I sleep in? The agreement was drafted a year ago. I don't want this house. Even now, sitting here, I'm just a guest, by the seaside. He smoked one last cigarette. If you're leaving, at least go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get the divorce certificate first. I don't know when he picked up the smoking habit too. His body went rigid, his phone on the coffee table lit up. This is a message from the group chat. Did everyone see Chen Han at Wei Tong's wedding today? How could we miss him? He's a full-grown adult, hard to overlook. They always say doctors are incredibly busy, but I had no idea they could sometimes have this much free time. I wonder what she's back for this time. She's not here to steal Juyang away again, is she? Juyang picked up his phone, and by the time he put it down again, the group chat had been disbanded. There's a new barbecue place downstairs that's pretty good. Feel like grabbing some late-night snacks. I got to my feet. I'll sleep in the study tonight. You should get some rest too. We need to be at the front of the line tomorrow. The study's layout remained unchanged. Yet lying there now, it no longer held the warmth that once made it feel like home. Got the barbecue. Come have some while it's hot. I didn't respond, pretending to be asleep. After a moment of silence, footsteps retreated from the doorway. From the study window, a sliver of light from the living room was visible. The living room light wasn't turned off until the early hours. Daybreak came, and I got up. The master bedroom was still quiet, so I sat down in the living room to wait for him. As the sun climbed higher with still no sound from the master bedroom, I checked the time and knocked on the door. No one answered. I frowned toward the entryway and only then noticed his house slippers neatly placed by the door. I immediately pushed open the bedroom door, but the room was completely empty. Coming out, I finally spotted the note on the dining table. Emergency at the hospital. I've gone in. There's breakfast in the thermos. Don't forget to eat. I left a note. I glanced at the insulated cup nearby, opened it, and found steamed buns in the top compartment and millet porridge with red dates in the bottom. I was in no mood for breakfast. When I called him, the line was busy. I had no choice but to go to the hospital. When I arrived, they told me he was in the operating room. All I could do was wait in his office. 14. His brother, Han Fan, walked in, looked like he just pulled a night shift. Our eyes met for a second before I looked away in disgust. Back in the day, he'd been Juyang and Lin Tang's biggest supporter. This time, he actually refrained from making sarcastic remarks at me. Juyang is still in surgery. If you're bored, you can use his computer to surf the web. He opened Juyang's drawer again, pulled out a bag of snacks, and placed it on the table. Juyang bought these for you. He grabbed his phone and went out again. I froze for a moment. The bag was filled with all the chips I used to love, but I had no appetite at all. I've let go of more than just those haunting memories. I've also shed many unhealthy habits along the way. The wait dragged on all the way until 4 in the afternoon. Ju Yensai stepped down from the operating table, his face etched with exhaustion. When he returned and saw me, he seemed momentarily taken aback. I lifted the document folder in my hand, my expression blank. I've been waiting for you. We only have an hour left. Let's make the most of it. All right, he nodded. I'm going to rinse off and change. He went into the bathroom. 10 minutes passed, and I was getting anxious waiting outside. He came out drying his hair and pointed to the boxed meal on the table that the nurse had just brought in. Just give me a moment to grab a bite. All right, haven't eaten all day. We're running out of time. He gave a bitter smile. I'll be quick, just 5 minutes. I didn't say anything more. He wolfed down a few bites of his meal, and just as we were about to leave, a nurse rushed over as we opened the door. Dr. Ju, it's an emergency. The patient in bed 3 has suddenly developed impaired consciousness and respiratory distress. I'll go check on them. He was called away again. Lives were at stake, so I had no grounds to stop them. All that was left was this gnawing frustration. 15. By the time he returned, it was already 6 o'clock. The Civil Affairs office had been closed for an hour. Under my accusatory gaze, he glanced at the time. I'm sorry. The patient is experiencing a fat embolism. We need to perform emergency resuscitation immediately. I was at a loss for words and furious, but it was also true that the patient had needed him moments earlier. Get your work sorted out. I don't want any more delays tomorrow. I'll check into a hotel for tonight. Chen Han, I was about to leave when a doctor approached. Seeing who it was, I froze for a moment. Dr. Liu, he looked at my leg and smiled. That's great, no lasting effects. I haven't seen you at the hospital in a year. I even asked Zhu Yang why you hadn't come by. Dr. Liu was over a decade older than Zhu Yang and the other young doctors, making him a senior figure in their department. I glanced at Zhu Yang. Did Dr. Liu not know that he and I had long since gone our separate ways? I'm relieved to see you've recovered so well. Come on, I'm treating the department to dinner tonight. Zhu Yang, bring your wife along. Sorry, I've got something on tonight. You all go ahead without me. Dr. Liu's face instantly hardened. What, are you saying my invitation isn't good enough? Truth be told, I owe my life to him. He's essentially my savior. Declining again would seem terribly impolite. Very well, from our conversation, I gathered that Dr. Liu had been promoted to department head, and this meal was to celebrate. As people gathered around, I noticed their slightly surprised glances when they saw me, but this time, Zhu Yang seemed determined to stand by me, staying close to my side the whole time. I rode in Zhu Yang's car. In the car, I gazed out the car window in silence. Zhu Yang gently took my hand. His hand was warm, mine was cold. Still upset, I turned my head back. I tried to pull my hand away, but he only held on tighter. Then, he let go of his own accord. I'm sorry. I withdrew my hand and rested it on my knee. Didn't you explain to them that we've been over for a long time? Besides the night I got drunk and mentioned to Han Fan that you'd given me the divorce papers. No one else knows. When people ask about you, I tell them you're traveling. So basically, aside from our old classmates, no one knows we haven't seen each other in a year, and that this meeting is just to finalize the divorce. There's cola in the storage box. Not really thirsty. Your taste in everything has changed. I didn't take the bait and just started scrolling through my phone. 16. We entered the private room, took our seats in order, and placed our meal orders. Some colleagues had brought their family members along. I just couldn't get into the swing of things, eating in silence. Zhu Yang served me food twice, but I just left it untouched on my plate. They were all dishes I used to love. Even my taste in snacks has changed. How could he think I'd still like the same old dishes? Dr. Liu suddenly called on me. Xiao Chen. You've been keeping your head down eating this whole time without saying a word. It's been a year since I last saw you. Xiao Chen, you seem like a completely different person. You used to be so talkative. In the past, I had attended these kinds of gatherings with Zhu Yang too. Back then, I was still full of passion, brimming with enthusiasm for my marriage with Zhu Yang. I'll sit next to Zhu Yang with ease and natural grace, building good rapport with them, no matter the topic. I'll make an effort to join in the conversation. I set down my chopsticks and smiled. Pardon my enthusiasm, it's been ages since I last had Hongji's cooking, and I've been craving it. Dr. Liu shook his head. No, I can see it clearly, the young couple has had a fight. Xiao Chen seems quite impatient with Dr. Zhu. Doesn't that look just like how my husband and I act after an argument? Xiao Chen, tell me, is it because you went out to have fun and Dr. Zhu couldn't join you? I'm to blame for this. I scheduled him with so much work that he didn't have enough time to spend with you. I'll make sure to fix that going forward and give him more time for you. Being called out like that made me feel embarrassed, even though we're heading for a divorce. I don't want to stir up any drama right now. No need, Director Liu. That's just part of his job responsibilities. Are you still worried that Dr. Zhu might be fooling around while you're away? I can assure you, he's always kept to himself. I've never seen him have lengthy private conversations with any women. I frowned. Was Lin Tang back already? He's never spoken to women. How is this even possible? But Director Liu insisted on adding, I wouldn't lie in front of all these people. 17. I got up and went to the restroom halfway through. I splashed some cold water on my face. Dr. Liu's wife also came into the restroom and gave me a smile. Sister Yang, I greeted with a nod. Long time no see. You've lost some weight. Sister Yang patted my shoulder and said, You can tell me what really happened between you and Dr. Zhu. The girl who used to light up at the sight of him now seems to have lost that sparkle in her eyes. I knew Sister Yang was concerned about our relationship. Sister Yang, there's no love left between him and me. Sister Yang's jaw dropped in surprise. Then she fell silent for a moment. I don't know the specifics of your relationship, but I can tell he truly cares about you. during your hospitalization after the car accident, whenever he wasn't assigned elsewhere, he stayed by your bedside every night. He even slept hunched over your bed while you were in the ICU, when you were hospitalized after the accident. He was in another province accompanying the hospital director for surgical exchanges. The moment he heard about your crash, he rushed out of the conference and hurried back. Because of this, he received a major demerit during a hospital-wide meeting. I was completely stunned. Did he stay by my side while I was unconscious? Sister Yang let out a sigh. I can't figure it out either. He clearly cares about you deeply, yet he never shows up when you're awake. Several times when old Liu was on night duty and I passed by your ward, I'd see him keeping vigil at your bedside. Sister Yang gave my shoulder a gentle pat. Don't rush to a decision, there might be unresolved misunderstandings between you. 18. Sister Yang stepped out first. I only left the restroom after taking a phone call. Ju Yang was standing by the private room entrance, seemingly waiting for me. Are you feeling unwell? I can go in and let them know we're leaving early. I glanced inside the room, looked like things were winding down anyway. I'm fine, let's just leave together when it's over. Half an hour later, the dinner party came to an end. At the hotel entrance, everyone exchanged goodbyes and drove off one by one. On the way, I glanced at the hotel by the roadside. Let me off here. I'll stay at a hotel tonight. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Tomorrow's the weekend. The Civil Affairs Bureau is closed. I immediately checked my phone for the date. How could I be so absent-minded? I hadn't even realized tomorrow is the weekend. Let's go back home, I snapped. Ju Yang, could you show me some respect? Do you get a kick out of running me ragged all day? He fell silent for a moment, then looked up. If anyone's staying at a hotel, it should be me. You put your heart into designing this place, it should stay with you. Let me take you home first. That evening, true to his word, he drove me to the garage and then left. But the next morning, when I went downstairs to grab breakfast, I spotted his Volvo parked right outside. I averted my gaze and headed back upstairs. He opened the car door and stepped out. Dad just called. It's his birthday today and he wants us to come over for dinner. We're not going. His heart condition has relapsed twice already. He really wants to see you. I tightened my grip on the soy milk and quickened my steps up the stairs. I'll be waiting downstairs for you. As I went upstairs, my phone rang again. I hung up. The phone vibrated twice more. Xiaohan, just come home for a meal. Alright, I've asked Auntie to prepare all your favorite dishes. The other day, I was diagnosed with pulmonary congestion. With all these health issues piling up, I probably don't have many years left. I know I failed your mother, and you have every right to hate me. But I still worry about you. I just want to see if Ju Yang treats you well, if he's ever made you suffer. I turned off my phone and tossed it aside. 19. We arrived at the Ju residence. The trunk popped open, and Ju Yang took the canister from my hands. This is heavy, let me carry it. Chen Nan, who had been playing in the yard, shot us a hard look before darting inside. Dad, sister's here. Before stepping inside, I stood watching Ju Yang's retreating figure from behind. A flicker of doubt crossed my mind. In the photo album I made, there's a picture of me with my parents. I once saw him pinching my father's face in the photo, his eyes holding something strange, almost like hatred. I once tried to subtly ask if he knew my father. He brushed it off. Using being busy as an excuse to avoid discussing the matter, I snapped out of it and followed along. Is Sis here? My dad looked toward the door, his tone tinged with excitement. Wang Yi, come out quick. Chen Han's here. A woman in an apron hurried out of the kitchen, my stepmother in name only. You didn't need to bring anything to your own home. Here, let me take that. Go ahead and have a seat in the living room. Just 2 more dishes to go. Then we'll eat. We sat down in the living room, an awkward silence hanging between us. I stopped calling him Dad after his affair tore our family apart. To my surprise, an stand was positioned beside him, administering fluids. That caught me completely off guard. His complexion had lost all traces of vitality. I'd barely settled in my seat before feeling the urge to get up and take a walk outside. Ju Yang came over, sat down, and took my hand. Your previous surgery was so successful, how could it have recurred? The aunt brought over a fruit platter and tea. I'm glad you're here. Please talk some sense into him. He's not young anymore and shouldn't push himself so hard. Last time it happened, he collapsed in under a minute. I was so terrified my hands and feet went weak I couldn't even steady my fingers to dial 120. It's not that serious. Alright, go keep an eye on the stove in the kitchen. Don't listen to your aunt, she tends to exaggerate. The doctor said that with proper rest, there's nothing to worry about. I stood up and said, I'm going to take a walk outside. He then called over Chen Nan, who had been playing nearby. Chen Nan, come take a walk outside with me. Chen Nan put down his Lego. Alright. Chen Nan trotted after me eagerly. I could see in his eyes that he felt somewhat distant from me, yet seemed to want to get closer. I marveled at how heaven had been so kind to Chen Qingwen. This cheating scoundrel actually found a soulmate, a woman who even bore him a well-behaved child. Wang Yi wasn't the one Chen Qingwen cheated with. They only got together 3 years after his affair partner left him for a wealthier, younger man. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come back today. He picked at his fingers and said, Want to see the goldfish I keep? They're in the stone trough. Let's go take a look. If you feed them too much, they'll eat themselves to death. But they finished everything. They can't resist food when they see it. You're their owner, you need to control their portions. How much should I feed each one? They're still small, so just 3 to 5 pellets per fish will do. Got it, sis, your brother's here. I stepped aside as Zhu Yang approached. Brother, my sister was teaching me how to feed the goldfish. I didn't realize I'd been overfeeding them. It could actually make the little fish sick from eating too much. Zhu Yang gently ruffled his hair. Dinner's ready. Let's go inside and eat. 20. Midway through the meal, another crisis struck. My father suddenly had a heart attack. Chen Nan. Hurry to the living room and get your father's nitroglycerine tablets. The aunt supported the person anxiously and said. Chen Nan brought the medicine. I took it, poured out 1 pill, and fed it into his mouth. This meal was destined to be left unfinished. Zhu Yang carried the person to the bedroom and laid them down flat. The family doctor rushed over as well. By the time we finished, dusk was settling in. Stepping out of the bedroom, I gazed at the swaying branches outside when someone draped a coat over my shoulders. Zhu Yang said, It's drafty here. Don't catch a chill. The doctor came out. I asked, How is he? Is he still in danger? The situation isn't good. You should stay here tonight in case anything happens, so we can handle it promptly. My aunt chimed in. Yes, please stay. I'm the type who gets flustered when things happen and can't make decisions. Having you young people here gives me some peace of mind. Xiaohan, your room has always been kept for you. I only go in once a week to clean and haven't touched anything else. I hesitated for a moment, then nodded and decided to stay. 21. My aunt didn't know about my current relationship with Zhu Yang, so she didn't arrange a separate room for him. I didn't want them getting involved in what's going on between Zhu Yang and me either, so I decided to make do for the night. I slipped and fell in the shower, when Zhu Yang heard the commotion and rushed in. I was drenched from head to toe, completely exposed. Did you slip? I must have twisted my ankle. The pain was excruciating, but I remained seated on the floor, covering my chest. It's nothing. Please step out for a moment. Zhu Yang lowered his gaze, pulled a towel from the rack, wrapped it around me, and stubbornly lifted me into his arms. You've sprained your ankle. Let me carry you out first. After being placed on the bed, I immediately grabbed the quilt and wrapped it tightly around myself. Zhu Yang left the room. Auntie, do you have any medicated wine? Yes, I just heard Xiaohan's voice. Is she hurt? Zhu Yang quickly brought in a bottle of red medicated wine and poured some into his palm. I closed my eyes as soon as he came out of the shower. Soon, the other side of the bed sank under his weight. Feigning sleep, I could feel him drawing closer. Then, growing bolder, he pulled me into his embrace. After a moment, my act faltered. I opened my eyes and stared directly at him. After a moment's hesitation, he leaned down and captured my lips in a fervent kiss. His kiss was tender and lingering, pulling me into its intoxicating embrace. When I finally realized what was happening, I shoved him away abruptly, gasping for air, staring blankly at the ceiling. I let out a hollow laugh as tears welled in the corners of my eyes. What is he even doing, after 2 years of marriage filled with such resentment, now that we're divorcing? He's suddenly showering me with all this tenderness, just like when he massaged my foot earlier, knowing I'd sprained it. His touch was incredibly gentle. It's over between us. Yet he still kisses me softly, pulling me back into this haze of affection. Does he want me to spend another 2 years chasing after him? He saw my tears and seemed a bit flustered, reaching up to wipe them away. I'm sorry, this is my fault for making you cry. You can hit me or yell at me, just please don't cry, alright? I tilted my head back, forcing the tears to recede. Why, Ju Yang? Sister Young told me you came to stay with me while I was in a coma after the car accident. Is that true? After a moment of silence, he nodded. I sat up and confronted him. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you come during the day? Did you want me to misunderstand you? Am I some kind of embarrassment in the daylight? He pulled me into his embrace. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I never meant to hurt you. You've always been the most important person in my heart. Believe you, based on just one sentence. For 2 years, you've been as cold as ice toward me. No matter how hard I tried to warm you up, it was like you saw me as the person you despise most. How could you expect me to believe you now? It was my fault for not realizing my own feelings sooner. I ended up hurting you, and you were completely innocent in all this. I couldn't bear to listen anymore and pushed him away. After a tense few seconds, he picked up his pillow and got out of bed. Please don't get upset, he said. I'll sleep on the couch. 22. I came downstairs early in the morning. I stared at the figure sitting on the sofa, frozen for a moment. The man turned and smiled at me. You're up. What brings you here? It's been years since I last saw Kui Shu. I used to think of him as an older brother. He rose to his feet. I heard Uncle Chen hasn't been well lately, so I came by to check on him. He'd matured considerably, gone were the flamboyant clothes he used to love, replaced now by proper formal wear. That roguish air about him had vanished completely. I'll have the housekeeper show you up. He stepped in front of me. Aren't you going to take me up yourself? I took a step back. At the doorway, Ju Yang entered with the doctor. He glanced sideways and caught sight of Ju Yang as well. I'm heading upstairs first. As Ju Yang stepped in, his eyes followed Kui Shu ascending the stairs. And in an instant, his gaze turned dark and intense. His fists were clenched tight. I was puzzled. I'd never seen Ju Yang in such a state. When he noticed me watching him, he quickly returned to normal. He opened the bag in his hand and pulled out a pair of white slippers. On my way to pick up the doctor, I stopped by a supermarket and picked out a pair of soft slippers to try on. When you've sprained your ankle, the softer the shoes, the better. He crouched down, gestured for me to sit, and changed my shoes for me. The aunt came over, cleared the teacups from the table, and teased. The young couple is truly devoted to each other. I'll handle it myself, as I bent down to change my shoes. The way he had looked at Kui Shu moments earlier flashed through my mind again. I glanced up at Ju Yang, studying him. Does he have some grudge against Kui Shu? Kui Shu stayed in my father's room for nearly an hour before coming down. He glanced at me, then his gaze finally settled on Ju Yang. Shall we talk? Let's talk outside. The two of them went out into the courtyard. I watched them go, wondering what they could possibly have to talk about. As far as I knew, they barely had any connection to each other, yet the animosity simmering between them was palpable enough to send a real chill down your spine. I remember back in college, Kui Shu came to see me once and ended up running into Ju Yang, but Ju Yang didn't exchange more than a few words with him before heading off to the library. Did those two ever cross paths again after that? Chen Nan came over holding a ball and looked up to ask, "Sis, wanna kick the ball around with me?" I nodded, sure. When the ball flew over to where the two were talking, I went to retrieve it. I've heard you haven't been treating Chen Han well these past few years. You're an outsider. You have no right to comment on our marriage. No right. If you hadn't shown up back then, she and I would be married. She would never have married you. Anyone with eyes could see she only saw you as a brother. There was never any romantic feeling toward you. She genuinely likes you. But what have you given her in return? Endless indifference. Pain. If it were me, I'd at least make sure she never felt wronged. Do you think I wanted this? If you hadn't been so ruthless, first threatening me, then pressuring my father, I wouldn't have been torn between the person I love most and the man who raised me. No matter which one I chose, my conscience would never be at peace. Kui Shu fell silent for a long time. A chill ran through me as I finally heard his voice. I'm sorry. If we had known you would never let go of her hand in the end, we would never have pressured you like that. Ha, you think a simple sorry can bring my father back to life? Thud, the football dropped from his hands. They spun around in shock. Xiao Han, when did you get here? Their eyes momentarily widened in disbelief. What are you talking about? A bone-deep chill seized me, as if I'd been submerged in ice. My eyes locked on Ju Yang. What do you mean? Dad can come back to life. Kui Shu, what did you do to Ju Yang's father? No, what did all of you do? Who else but you? What are you all hiding from me? Deep down, I know the truth will be unbearable, but I have to face it. Ju Yang never mentions his father around me. Whenever I ask, he gets visibly annoyed. Ju Yang gently pressed my shoulder. Calm down first. Let's talk when you've settled your emotions and are more composed. I need to know right now, please, just tell me. Kui Shu began to speak. I'm sorry. Xiaohan, it was me. I've had feelings for you for a long time, but you only saw me as a brother. When you fell for Ju Yang, I was young and arrogant. I thought he was completely unworthy of you, so I tried to humiliate him with money, told him to take it and stay away from you. But he refused every cent and told me to stop playing these childish games. I found it insulting. Who was he to act so defiant with me? I got so angry I hired people to beat him up. When he still didn't stay away from you, I lost my temper completely. After learning his father also worked in this city, I sent another group to ambush and severely injure him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. A sharp slap landed across Kui Shu's face. You bastard. Half of Kui Shu's face froze in that position. I'm sorry, Xiaohan, if it makes you feel better, you can slap me as many times as you want. Hitting you would only dirty my hands. You're utterly heartless. Don't you understand? It wasn't Ju Yang refusing to stay away from me. I was the one who liked him and approached him first. You beat him, and then savagely attacked his father too. Why don't you just kill me first? Xiaohan, get out. I never want to see you again. Go ahead and hate me. All these years, I've suspected Ju Yang was neglecting you because of his father, and it's been eating me up inside. I was the one who destroyed your happiness, but I was too cowardly to tell you. I knew you'd despise me once you learned the truth. Maybe it's better that everything's out in the open now. I finally feel free. I'm the one who's at fault here, and I'm the one who should pay the price. I just hope you two can stop hurting each other and find a way to be happy together. Wait, who else is with you besides yourself? There's no one else, just me. You must have misheard, I said self-mockingly. Believe it or not, I already figured it out even if you don't tell me. Kui Shu turned his head back. It's really just me, don't overthink it. He shot Ju Yang a pleading look. Ju Yang also nodded. There's no one else. I so wished Ju Yang was telling the truth, that there was no one else involved. But how could I have misheard? So Ju Yang truly does love me right now. All he wants is to protect me, to keep me from uncovering any more of the truth. It was my dad, wasn't it? You all came up with the plan together to have Ju Yang's father beaten. To make Ju Yang hate me. My father has always been fond of you, more than once. He hinted to me that we grew up together, and he'd be at ease if I ended up with you someday. All I got in response was silence. The truth, when it came out, was brutal. 23. I simply can't process all of this. Maybe I'll never be able to come to terms with this truth for the rest of my life. It's all in the past now. Let's not dwell on it anymore. Let's cherish the present, okay? Ju Yang cupped my face and pressed his forehead against mine. How can we cherish the present? Ju Yang, your father was killed by mine, wasn't he? Today, I finally understood the depth of his hatred for me. I had considered countless possibilities, but never imagined the reason would be so despicable. Ju Yang explained, no, my father died of cancer, not from the beating. Those were just superficial wounds. I can't take this in. Stop covering for them. When I stood by Chen Qingwen's bedside, he already had a feeling. You know everything, don't you? You must have hoped I'd never find out. It suddenly dawned on me why your condition kept getting worse. It's karma catching up with you. Auntie still felt sorry for him. Xiaohan, don't speak about your father like that. He's always regretted this deeply. His intention was simply for you to marry someone we know well. He was worried you might get hurt. I scoffed coldly. And marrying someone I don't love wouldn't be hurtful. So this is how you show your love for me, by hurting the person I care about. From now on, stop calling me with your pity stories. If you had any conscience at all, you wouldn't have called Ju Yang. His father has been dead for years, while you're still using the most expensive medications, sleeping on million-dollar mattresses, and even controlling Ju Yang. He's a human being. Every time he faces you, knowing how you treated his father like dirt, beating him like he was nothing. Imagine how much that must tear him apart inside. I'm sorry, Xiaohan, your father was wrong. I don't dare ask for forgiveness from you or Zhu Yang. My only wish now is that this doesn't affect you both, that you can live your lives well together. From beginning to end, you were innocent. It was my fault for loving you the wrong way. Let me bear all the consequences. There are no second chances in life. Once happiness is shattered, it can never be pieced back together. I laughed until bitter tears welled in my eyes. How could you be so cruel as to expect me to live happily with Zhu Yang? Do you want his father to rest uneasily in his grave? 24. I fled the Chen residence. I drifted through the streets like a lost soul, with no destination in mind. I wanted to get up and breathe some fresh air, but demonic claws from beneath were dragging me down into the depths. After his father passed away, Zhu Yang returned to campus following the funeral and remained deeply despondent. I was completely unaware of the circumstances at the time. Only knowing that Zhu Yang's father had died, I wanted to keep him company, so I went to wait for him downstairs at his dormitory. Han Fan had scolded me before. Chen Han, stay away from Zhu Yang. Just leave him alone. You know what? Zhu Yang's father was so pitiful. When he died, his body was covered in wounds. Pour it. Want another drink? You're already drunk. Not drunk yet. Fill her up. Nothing else could occupy my mind except getting drunk and letting my brain go numb from lack of oxygen. I had no idea what other method I could use to numb myself. Welcome, sir. What can I get for you? I'm looking for someone. Let's skip the drinks and head back. Through my dazed vision, I glimpsed a tall silhouette that looked just like Zhu Yang. Zhu Yang, what are you doing here? Please don't come around anymore. Alright, I'm too ashamed to face you. I took his arm again and tried to roll up his sleeve. How did they hurt you? Does it still ache? That time you took several days off, you were in the hospital recovering. Weren't you? You're the person I care about most. How could they lay a hand on you? Seeing you hurt pains me more than any wound I could suffer. I'm sorry, Zhu Yang. I apologize on behalf of my father. Please don't hate me. Okay, no, your father has passed away, and since we're married, he's my father too. You'll never forgive me. If only you'd never met me. My father would still be alive. Please stop being so kind to me. I don't deserve it. Hush now, let's go home. My body suddenly felt weightless, as if I were floating in the air. 25. When I woke up the next day, my head was pounding with a splitting headache. Sunlight streamed through the pale curtains, making my eyes ache with a dull throb. As I woke, the truth uncovered yesterday resurfaced vividly in my mind. I realized this was the marital bedroom Zhu Yang and I shared. Not knowing how to face Zhu Yang, I scrambled out of bed to leave. The door swung open. Zhu Yang stepped in with a gentle smile. You're awake. I made you some sobering up soup, it's ready now. He scooped up a spoonful and brought it to my lips. The more he treated me well, the more unbearable it became for me. I pushed him away. Zhu Yang, you don't have to be so good to me. You're my wife. If I'm not good to you, who should I be good to? I glanced at the documents on the table and picked them up. Let's stick to our arrangement. We'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau on Monday to end our marriage. He lowered his head in silence. I'm going out for a walk. As I got out of bed, he caught my hand. So, you're going to leave me behind? It's not about leaving you. I just can't face you anymore. We've wronged you. About your father, I'm truly sorry. But all I can do is apologize. There's nothing I can do to make it right. Let's stop this entanglement. Lin Tang is better suited for you than I am. And as it happens, she's back. His brow visibly furrowed. Is this because you saw us together at the wedding? You've got it all wrong. Yesterday at Wei Tong's wedding, she and I only ran into each other at the entrance. Beyond that, we had no interaction. You saw her standing next to me and assumed we're together. Is that it? And have you ever wondered why I ultimately chose to marry you? You must think I did it deliberately to get back at your father, right? What if I told you it's because I love you so much, so deeply that I'd bear the weight of my own conscience just to be with you? Would you believe me? I pressed my lips together. Zhu Yang, I know I've failed you as a husband since we got married. Every day I'm torn between wanting to keep you close and resenting your father. There are times I feel like I'm completely falling apart. When you had the accident, I was in another province. The news stunned me. I rushed back without stopping. And seeing you lying unconscious in the operating room shattered me. When I learned that your accident happened because you ran a red light while in poor mental state, my guilt only deepened. It was my coldness toward you that made you doubt yourself and lose your way. I despise myself. I thought, once you wake up, we should get divorced. Being with me only brings you pain, so I don't dare give you any more hope. I always knew you'd pull through. You've always had such inner strength. But when you brought me the divorce papers, in that moment I was truly pushing you away. I felt my heart bleeding. Then I realized, no resentment could ever outweigh having you by my side. I know I can't sign those divorce papers, I can't lose you, but your heart has completely withered away. After you left, I searched everywhere for you, and finally found you in a small town down south. You had opened a pharmacy and were doing better with each passing day. The pain I caused you was so profound that I couldn't bring myself to appear before you and shatter the peace you'd found. When I heard Jong-shin was getting married, I was thrilled. I knew her wedding would bring you back, and at last, we'd have a chance to meet again. At the wedding, I saw you just as I'd hoped. My heart was racing, though I tried to play it cool, but I couldn't figure out how to approach you, how to start that first conversation naturally. Realizing you were about to leave again, I panicked and rushed out to grab your hand. This time, I couldn't let you go. Ju Yang's grip on my hand tightened. I could feel how desperately he was trying to keep me. But with your father's death hanging over us, you'll always carry that emotional burden. My father died of brain cancer. He was badly injured that time. But they were all superficial wounds. You have to believe me. It's just that what your father did has always bothered me. But if you clearly hate my father, why did you answer his calls and come back with me to see him? He doesn't deserve it. Because, at the heart of it, we both love you too much. Back then, he was afraid that if you were with me, I couldn't provide the life you wanted. He hoped you'd marry well. Any other father would be furious if his precious daughter chose a medical student with no family background over the highly regarded, ideal son-in-law the family valued. He'd do everything in his power to keep them apart. You may act cold toward him and avoid talking to him, but I can tell you still wish him good health and freedom from suffering. Actually, your father approached me long ago and warned me to stay away from you. He said he'd already chosen your future husband, someone from a good family you've known since childhood. Yet here you were, completely unaware, rushing into my arms again and again. You're so bright and lovely, I forced myself to reject you 3 times. But you never gave up. You have no idea how much it tore me apart each time I pushed you away. When Quishu came to see you at school, I realized you only saw him as a brother. There was no romantic feeling. The ironic part, he had his lackeys beat me up and threatened worse if I didn't stay away from you. What he didn't realize was that his actions revealed his true character, arrogant and domineering. If you ever married him, he'd never respect your opinions or treat you with sensitivity. I could never in good conscience let you end up with someone like that. But when I think about it, how am I any better? After we married, my coldness toward you caused the deepest pain of all, from start to finish. You were completely innocent, yet you bore the heaviest burden. If you still insist on divorce, I'll respect your decision. Suddenly, he smiled again. In the beginning, because of those unpleasant rumors about you circulating around campus, I just wanted to keep my distance. I'd already labeled you as some troublemaker in my mind, but you had this proud air about you, yet you'd shyly approach me time and again. After spending time together, I realized you weren't anything like the malicious, domineering person those rumors described. On the contrary, you were not only beautiful but also had a genuinely kind heart. I quietly watched you memorizing textbooks by the unnamed lake, bandaging the injured leg of a campus stray cat, giving your pocket money to disabled beggars on the street. Those rumors were nothing but baseless accusations fabricated by people who knew they couldn't measure up to you, so they tried to push you out. From the very beginning until now, you're the only one I've ever loved. As for Lin Tang, initially, when I was trying to distance myself from you, she approached me and we ended up talking a bit more. The rumor about us being childhood friends, that's just because we happened to take the same train on the day we reported to Jing Medical. Do you remember the last time you asked me? You wanted to know if I preferred you going abroad and leaving me alone forever, or marrying you so you could bother me for the rest of my life. After thinking it over all night, I took your hand and said, let's get married. If only you could give me that same choice again now. I tilted my head back and still pulled Ju Yang's hand away. 26. I'll hold on to this document for now. He took the divorce papers right out of my hands. I hope you'll reconsider. Chen Han, just remember this, I love you, and I want to grow old with you. I stepped outside and wandered aimlessly through the streets. Then my phone rang. Xiao Han, are you back yet? What's up? Cousin, can you come back right away? Tang Tang is missing. I've looked everywhere and can't find her. Please come help me search. I was shocked. How could Tang Tang get lost? I'll be right back. Thankfully, it was a close call. I rushed back and found Tang Tang sleeping in the park with my cousin before dawn. The divorce proceedings between Ju Yang and me were temporarily put on hold. Another 6 months had passed, and the sky that day was a brilliant azure. After tidying up the medications on the shelves, I returned to the checkout counter. A message from Ju Yang came through. Han Han, our team won the grand prize at the recent national medical competition. The hospital approved a 10-day all-expenses-paid trip to Sonia for our group, and we can bring family along. Will you come with me? Doctor, I have stomach pain. Do you have any medication for it? I put down my phone. Yes, we do. 27. By the soft sandy shore, I tipped my hat down and snapped a few landscape photos with my phone. Hey beautiful, can I get your number? Just as I was figuring out how to turn him down, a hand grasped my waist. Sorry, I'm taken. Our eyes met, and I was stunned, turned away with a huff. How did you know it was me? I never said I was coming. Just from the back, I could tell. How could I not recognize the one I love? Then why didn't you come find me sooner? I don't know anyone here. It's so boring. The man in the floral shirt who had asked for my number had already turned and walked away. This person pulled down the brim of my hat. He kissed my lips, then pressed his forehead against mine. Early, you just stepped onto the beach. I was hoping to see you sooner, but you're 2 days late. I was about to fly away. You were going to leave already. Yeah, I thought you weren't coming. So I planned to fly to your city and show you the pharmacy. What a waste. A 10-day vacation with all expenses covered right here. Without you, even the most exciting places lose their sparkle. My earlobe was gently nibbled again. End of main text. Extra chapter 1. 3 months later, I transferred the pharmacy to my cousin. She hired someone to manage the shop. I returned to Baicheng and successfully started working in the pharmacy of the third hospital. I get to commute to and from work with Ju Yang every day. One day, Ju Yang and I were sleeping. Ju Yang's phone lit up. He picked up the reply and then set it down. I asked casually, who's messaging this late? No one important. In the middle of the night, I got up to use the bathroom. When I turned on the small light, my face illuminated his phone screen and unlocked his device. A chat interface popped up. His phone had stored my facial recognition data. Lin Tang, /Ju Yang, I'm really scared. Could you come keep me company and talk me through this? /Ju Yang, that's not my responsibility. /2, our first Qingming festival after reconciling. Qingming festival is just around the corner. This time, you're not going back alone to visit Dad's grave in secret. I'm coming with you. Alright, let's drive back then. On the way, Ju Yang suddenly asked me, what's on your mind? I looked at him, remaining silent for a moment. Maybe Dad doesn't want to see me. He's seen you before. When? Back in college. That night when you were pestering me on the sports field to stargaze with you, he came to visit me on campus. Was that the night I went to the restroom and came out to find you disappeared? That night, when you went to the restroom, he came over and told me he was in town for work and decided to drop by to see me. Actually, he'd spotted us earlier but didn't want to interrupt since you were there. He brought me some clothes, so I went back to the dorm with him to put them away. Oh. That night, I think I bit your arm. Please tell me Dad didn't see that. What really upset me was that the news said there'd be a meteor shower that evening. I'd hoped he'd watch it with me, but he'd been so distant during that period. Though he'd been perfectly fine with me before, I just got back from a short break, and his giving me the cold shoulder again. I was so mad that I grabbed his hand as he tried to leave, bit it, and then hid in the bathroom. He raised an eyebrow. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? I felt my face flush with heat instantly. Making such a bad first impression on Dad, he must really dislike me, right? After a moment, Ju Yang chuckled softly. You know what? After that day, he started giving me 500 extra in my monthly allowance. Why? He said you look too thin and told me to make sure you eat well. So Dad thought I was your girlfriend back then. Well, so you're not denying it, huh? You've considered me your girlfriend all along, yet you never admitted it at school. You're so stubborn. Me, stubborn. Remember our first date? Someone wore high heels that gave her blisters, but she kept pretending to be fine in front of me just to act ladylike. That's ancient history. Why bring it up now? H. Dad gives you an extra $500 every month for my health, but I haven't even seen you buy me a bottle of water. He tapped the steering wheel with his finger. You never listen. What do you mean I never listen? Ever since I met you, I've become so much more approachable, and around you, I don't have a temper at all. When I tell you to cut back on soda, do you listen? When I ask you not to buy me things, do you listen? I fell silent. I feel a bit hard done by. Back then I was just a student, and having the occasional soda wasn't really over the top, was it? When I buy things for him, it's usually because I come across something that just seems perfect for him. And I can't resist getting it as a gift. He suddenly handed me a card. This is for you. I was completely baffled. What's the card for? Dad's been giving you $500 a month. I put it all on this card. Now it's yours. Buy whatever you want. I was stunned, holding the thin card. My heart ached with bittersweet emotions. This represented Ju's father's approval of me. Though not a prominent figure, Ju Yang's father was a respected railway engineer. Dad, have you never known who it was that hit you? They explicitly warned him to keep his son away from you. Did you really think he wouldn't find out? Then your father must have hated me afterwards, and never approved of us being together. He never achieved anything remarkable in his life. But his greatest quality was his ability to tell right from wrong. He'd never blame an innocent young girl who knew nothing about the situation. Ju Yang slowed down, pulled over to the roadside, and took my hand, the finger that had once been scarred by a scalpel. What's more, this young girl injured her finger for his son and even gave up the career she loved most. Such a wonderful girl, no one could convince me to let her go, and I wouldn't want to either. I was stunned. How did you know? When that scalpel fell and cut my index finger, everyone thought I just happened to be standing there. Actually, I was the one who reached out and deflected the sharp scalpel, preventing it from landing on Ju Yang's head. My hand was instantly stained red with blood. I always thought it was just an accident you went through, until a similar incident occurred in the operating room. That's when I realized you had deliberately taken the hit for me. The scalpel slipped because Lin Tang wasn't following proper procedure. It slid right out of her hand. Ju Yang happened to be looking down, adjusting the lift stand at that moment. I happened to be right there. And as I raised my hand, the knife got lodged in my index finger. Although I sought treatment for my hand immediately, the cut went all the way to the bone. After the stitches were removed, my hand had a slight tremor when holding a scalpel. The operating room demands precision and reverence. There's no room for even the slightest carelessness. I had no choice but to give up my dream of becoming a surgeon, but I have no regrets. If someone had to give up their dream that day, I would have chosen myself without hesitation. Whether in terms of passion or ability, Ju Yang was destined to go further than me in the field of medicine. Back when we were doing our hospital internships, he stood out as the most exceptional among our group. The department head thought very highly of him. Lin Tang made a mistake and was sent back to school by the hospital. With no other hospital willing to take her, she felt deeply humiliated and volunteered for a medical aid mission in Africa. Yet she was a master at manipulating public opinion. Her own incompetence led to disaster, but somehow it got twisted into me forcing her abroad to monopolize Ju Yang. Fortunately, bad people never get away unscathed. I heard she was diagnosed with uremia. 3. On the way back, I glanced at the date and suddenly realized something. Gently placing my hand on my belly, Ju Yang asked with concern, "What's wrong?" I smiled, deliberately keeping him in suspense. "What do you think?" Ju Yang froze for a moment, then excitement surged through him. "Could it be? There's a hospital up ahead. Let's go get checked out." After the examination, the doctor handed them the results with a smile. "Congratulations, you're pregnant." End. Story 2. The day I received my husband's stomach cancer diagnosis, he confessed he was having an affair. He said, "Mian Mian has been by my side for years, enduring hardships with me, helping me build my business. Now she's pregnant, and I have to give her a proper place. We'll divorce." The company is mine, all other assets are yours. I looked at the man's face, filled with a deep, suppressed affection. My heart ached, but I nodded readily. If it's over, it's over. He's on his deathbed. I should at least grant him his last wish. 1. Jiang Wen has been suffering from stomach pains lately, often accompanied by dry heaves. I was worried about his health, so I practically dragged him to the hospital for a checkup. He had just finished his gastroscopy. Jiang Wen got a call and told me there was an urgent matter at the company, and he needed to rush back immediately. The test results were still printing, but Jiang Wen had already vanished. I took the test results to the doctor. The doctor reviewed the various tests, his brow furrowing more and more. He said gravely, "The situation isn't good. His blood work shows tumor markers over 1,000 times higher than the standard range. The gastroscopy reveals abnormal thickening of the stomach wall, along with irregular masses." I anxiously interrupted the doctor. "Doctor, please just tell me directly, is my husband's stomach condition quite serious?" The doctor nodded. "It's confirmed to be stomach cancer. But to determine the exact stage, we'll need further tissue biopsies. Please have your wife admitted as soon as possible for treatment and tests." I barely registered anything the doctor said after that. All I could hear was a deafening buzz in my head. 2. I stumbled out of the hospital. My mind was a mess. I didn't know how to tell Jiang Wen about his condition. Back home, I looked at the medical report, my eyes swollen from crying. I can't imagine how I'd go on living without him. It's almost time for Jiang Wen to get off work. I pushed down my sadness and went to the kitchen to make him dinner. Over the years, Jiang Wen often had to drink with clients to close deals and attract business. Over time, he developed chronic stomach problems. To help him recover, I made him different kinds of stomach-nourishing porridges every day. Our diet mainly consisted of light, simple meals, fearing outside food would be too greasy. I'd cook his lunch every day and drive it specifically to his office, but even with all my careful efforts, we still couldn't escape fate's cruel hand. The thought of him, so handsome and dashing, about to face chemotherapy and radiation, brought tears streaming down my face once more. By the time Jiang Wen returned, it was completely dark. My head felt heavy and muddled from crying for so long, and I was slumped weakly over the dining table. Seeing me, Jiang Wen couldn't help but frown. "If you're tired, go rest in your room. What kind of behavior is this?" Sprawling on the dining table, I forced myself up, my mind racing to string words together, trying to figure out how to gently tell him I was sick. Seeing my lack of response, Jiang Wen impatiently tugged at his tie and said, "I've already eaten out. You eat by yourself. I'm going to take a shower first." With that, he headed straight upstairs. 3. Jiang Wen had already showered and gone into his study by the time I went upstairs with my checkup report. I knocked on the study door. "Honey, are you still working?" Jiang Wen's calm voice came from inside. "Yeah, I'm busy." I stood for 2 minutes, then spoke again. "There's something I need to talk to you about. May I come in?" A long silence followed before the reply came. "I'm about to start a video conference. Can we talk later?" I let out a quiet sigh. Ever since the company went public, Jiang Wen's workload has significantly increased. For the past 6 months, he's either been working late or traveling even more frequently. He looks much more worn out. Just as he was about to turn and head back to his room, he heard the WeChat notification sound from downstairs. It chimed 3 to 5 times in a row. I thought it was Jiang Wen's phone that he'd left downstairs. Knowing he had a video conference soon and might need his phone, I quickly headed downstairs to grab it for him. But the sound wasn't coming from his phone, it was Jiang Wen's tablet. He must have been logged into the same WeChat account, and the messages were synced. Even though the tablet was locked, WeChat messages kept popping up. "I'm telling you, don't you dare sleep with that old hag, or you can forget about ever touching me again. You promised you'd go back today and tell her you want a divorce. Don't you lie to me, if you don't divorce her soon. I'm going to the hospital tomorrow to get rid of this baby. I know the person who sent that message. It's Jiang Wen's assistant, Cheng Mian. 4. I froze in place, clutching the tablet, as if struck by lightning. For a moment, I couldn't tell if the scene was real or an illusion. Jiang Wen and I were college classmates, 4 years of dating, 10 years of marriage. We were together for a total of 14 years. To support his startup, I quit my stable government job. When the company was struggling financially, I gave him all my dowry and savings. Countless nights, we worked tirelessly to deliver solutions that would satisfy our clients. Through endless rounds of negotiations, we tirelessly advocated to secure the best possible terms for our collaborations. All our friends say we've had a tough time these past few years. Thankfully, all the hard work eventually paid off. Later, the company gradually got on track. We hired highly educated and capable talents. And I slowly delegated my responsibilities. My in-laws were urging us to have children. They say my husband Jiang Wen and I have been married for years without children, and our families back home are practically drowning in gossip from relatives. So, I put my work aside and focused on preparing for pregnancy. About a year ago, Jiang Wen's work suddenly became incredibly demanding. He started traveling frequently for business. Every time I come home, I just feel drained. Once in bed, he's either glued to his phone catching up on news or he's out cold. I reminded him that we're trying to conceive, but when it comes to our sex life, no matter how capable I am, I can't exactly make a baby by myself. Can I? But every time, Jiang Wen would just wave his hand wearily. I'm really tired. We haven't had kids for so many years. What's 1 or 2 more days? Let's just go to sleep. I thought he was just too tired. It never crossed my mind that he was seeing another woman behind my back. 5. I clutched Jiang Wen's medical report tightly in my hand. In a single day, I was hit with 2 major blows. Thinking about it, it's truly ironic. I wanted to slap the diagnosis report across Jiang Wen's face and tell him this was his karma for cheating. But in the end, I held back. As I walked upstairs again, Jiang Wen's study door was open. He saw me coming up from downstairs, paused for a moment, and asked, "It's so late. Why aren't you asleep yet?" Without even looking at him, I coldly replied, "Does it concern you whether I'm asleep or not?" Jiang Wen's face instantly darkened, but he suppressed his anger and asked in a low voice, "What was it you wanted to tell me just now?" My voice was icy. "Nothing. It was unimportant. I've already forgotten." Jiang Wen watched me silently for a good 10 seconds before finally speaking. "Perfect. I have something to say." I pulled at the corner of my mouth, a sarcastic smile playing on my lips. Jiang Wen took a deep breath and uttered each word distinctly. "Shujisha, let's get a divorce." Even though I had known this outcome for a long time, yet, hearing those words still twisted my heart into a knot of pain. The warm, yellow light illuminated Jiang Wen's handsome face. There was only certainty on his face, not a hint of remorse. I fought to keep the tremor out of my voice and asked, "Why? I want to know why." As the man spoke of the woman he loved, his gaze was tender and lingering. He said, "Actually, Mian Mian and I have been together for 7 years. She's my soulmate, and every moment with her is full of romance and surprises. She understands all my unspoken words and knows the meaning behind every look. But what about being with you? All you ever talk about are orders and business. To you, I'm just a money-making robot." Unlike when he mentioned Cheng Mian Mian, his eyes held disgust when he spoke of me. My nails dug into my palms, a sharp pain. He said, "During those toughest years, if Mian Mian hadn't been by my side, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. I probably would have been driven insane by you." Jiang Wen's words cut me to the quick. Don't I want to enjoy life's pleasures, to travel to mountains, rivers, and seas? Don't I want to pursue poetry and distant lands? But those bank loans need to be repaid, the company's rent and property management fees need to be paid, employees' salaries need to be disbursed, and social security contributions must be made. I can't afford to just stop and take a break when facing such immense financial pressure. Since I chose to start a business, it's inevitable that I'll face more hardships, greater pressure, and heavier responsibilities than I would in a regular job. 6. I can't even begin to describe how utterly heartbroken and disappointed I am. I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping me. "So, your soulmate is just a fancy term for cheating and illicit affairs? Huh, well, I guess your souls really are a perfect match then. I could never measure up to that." Jiang Wen's face instantly flushed crimson, but then, his eyes slowly, steadily, turned cold. "No matter what, I'm divorcing you. Mian Mian is pregnant, and the baby is mine." Still, the tears welled up. Betraying my resolve, I can still vividly recall the days when Jiang Wen pursued me. Now he's telling me another woman is having his child, and he wants a divorce. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. Jiang Wen, you're an animal. Marrying you is the biggest regret of my life. Jiang Wen's face was knocked to the side by my blow. He froze for a moment, then remained silent. Jiang Wen and I met and got to know each other on our university campus. He was the one who pursued me. He was too shy to confess his feelings, so he drank a can of beer that day. His face was flushed, and so were his ears. He blocked my way to the library, stammering, "Xu Jixia, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend?" I looked at the handsome guy, who was half a head taller than me, and felt my face flush without realizing it. But I didn't say yes. Who would accept a confession from someone who's drunk? After that, Jiang Wen started showing up every day downstairs from our dorm. "Could you grab breakfast for my roommate and me, and also stake out a spot for me at the library?" My roommates all told me I should really hold on to Jiang Wen. They said I'd definitely regret it if I let such a good person slip away. Jiang Wen and I started dating in our sophomore year. He gave me so much love and a strong sense of security. He once looked me straight in the eye and sincerely promised, "Xu Jixia, I'll only ever be good to you in this lifetime." Pathetic, a man, slightly tipsy, can put on a show that'll bring you to tears. From beginning to end, I was the only one lost in that dream, unwilling to wake up. 7. A hint of guilt finally appeared in Jiang Wen's eyes, but it wasn't for me. He licked his dry lips. "Mian Mian has been by my side since she graduated from college, staying with me through the toughest times until today. Now she's carrying my child, and I have to give her a proper status." Tears streaming down my face, I retorted angrily. "Wasn't I the one who followed you since graduating from college? Wasn't I the one who stayed with you through the toughest times until today?" Jiang Wen's face was cold. "Yes, and I will compensate you when we divorce." Compensate me? I laughed until I cried. I married him right after I graduated from college at 23. After starting our business, we had to save money. We squeezed into a basement apartment that cost 450 yuan a month. In that cramped, damp basement, I learned to catch cockroaches with my bare hands and trap rats with sticky boards. To save money for our mortgage, we'd always wait until the market was about to close to buy the cheapest leafy greens. Having braised beef noodles was considered a treat. During our toughest times, we made 10 yuan last for 3 days. We were eating plain steamed buns for every meal. It wasn't until 2 years later, when the company gradually got on track, that things started to get a little easier. The villa we live in now was purchased 2 years ago. From getting the keys, to renovating, and then airing it out until it was suitable for living in, we haven't even lived here for half a year yet. Jiang Wen adopted a negotiating tone. "Xu Jixia, let go with some dignity. Mimi helped me build this company from the ground up, so I won't give it to you. But all other assets, every single one, will be yours. These assets are worth 10 years of your life. You won't be at a disadvantage, after all. The money you've earned in the past decade probably isn't even enough to buy this villa and its yard." It felt as if a raging inferno was burning within my chest. I raised my hand again and slapped him across the face. 7. This slap packed more of a punch. Jiang Wen stumbled from my blow. He immediately bent over, dry heaving. I stood beside him, watching coldly as the veins in his neck bulged from the strain of dry heaving. Just then, Jiang Wen's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID, then wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. "Mian Mian, what's wrong?" His voice was doting and gentle. He deliberately answered Cheng Mian Mian's call right in front of me. Jiang Wen glanced at me, then spoke into the phone. "Don't worry, since I promised you an explanation, I won't go back on my word. Whether Xu Jixia agrees or not, this divorce is happening. Got it? Tomorrow's the day for the baby's fetal heart monitoring. I won't forget, I'll drive to pick you up then." He shamelessly exchanged intimate, flirtatious words with Cheng Mian Mian right in front of me. Seeing his repulsive face, only one thought consumed me. Getting cancer is exactly what you deserve. I turned and went downstairs. Minutes later, those medical reports were nothing but a pile of ashes in the villa's backyard. From this day forward, whether that scumbag lives or dies is no concern of mine. 8. I never thought Cheng Mian Mian would actually dare to ask me to meet her. She's probably coming to gloat about her victory. As the original wife, there's no way I'd be afraid of her. I contacted my friend Song Wen, who's an influencer and relationship blogger with nearly 2 million followers on video platforms. Have her secretly record my meeting with Cheng Mianmian, it might come in handy later. The meeting point was a coffee shop. When I arrived, Cheng Mianmian was already seated. She saw me walk into the cafe and stood up, clutching her stomach. Jixia, over here. Her enthusiasm was so over the top. You'd think we were the best of friends. Song Wen intentionally arrived a few minutes late. Taking a seat diagonally behind us, Cheng Mianmian's belly was quite big, looking about 5 or 6 months pregnant, her hands clasped on the table, a sweet smile plastered on her face. She said, "Sister Jixia, I ordered you a mocha, just the way you like it." I placed my bag beside me and stared at her with a cold expression. I had no idea what she was up to. She picked up the glass of plain water in front of her and took a small sip. "Sister Jixia, don't be so hostile towards me. It's your own fault for being married to brother Jiang Wen for so many years and not having a child to tie him down. If you had a child or two now, would he be so quick to divorce you?" I really didn't want to listen to her nonsense, but then I remembered my friend was still recording, so I forced a bitter smile and said, "You two were already secretly together 7 years ago, so I'm actually glad we didn't have children." Cheng Mianmian chuckled smugly. "Sister Jixia, you gave me my big break. And honestly, I never intended to compete with you. That's why I always urged Jiang Wen to be understanding towards you. If I had wanted to fight you, do you really think you'd have been Mrs. Jiang for so long?" Her face was a mask of scorn and disdain. "It's just that now I'm carrying Jiang Wen's child. I can live without a title or status, but my child cannot. That's my responsibility as a mother." She spoke with an air of righteous conviction. "But I find her logic absolutely ridiculous." I scoffed. "If you were a responsible mother, you wouldn't have been someone's secret lover from the very beginning, would you?" 9. Cheng Mianmian choked. Unable to speak, perhaps out of anger and embarrassment, her words became sharp and cutting. "Did you know, Jiang Wen has been sick of you for ages. He says you're bland and boring, just like the food you cook. Being with you is like living a life where you can see the end from the very beginning. Jiang Wen loves spicy food, but you insist on following some health regimen, cooking dishes with no salt and no oil. He can barely stomach them. You don't actually think he ate all those meals you sent to his office, do you? Haha, he had me throw them all away. He much prefers the lunches I prepare for him. He clearly wanted bananas, but you kept giving him apples. No matter how much you give, you're only moving yourself." I gently stirred my coffee, not looking up as I asked, "So, all these years, you've been cooking spicy dishes that suit Jiang Wen's taste?" Cheng Mianmian lifted her chin, beaming with pride. "Of course. I'm not like you, forcing my preferences on others." I finally understood why Jiang Wen's stomach issues escalated into cancer. Years ago, after Jiang Wen had a stomach hemorrhage from drinking, I dragged him in for a gastroscopy. Even then, the doctor told me he had mild atrophic gastritis. You need to be very strict with your diet, so I've been preparing nutritious meals for him, always sticking to easily digestible, high-nutrient, non-spicy, and non-cold standards, and yet, he threw it all in the trash. At this very moment, I can't tell if Cheng Mianmian is a friend or a foe. 7. "So, this is why you called me here today." I watched the woman across from me, perfectly composed. Cheng Mianmian leaned gently against the back of the sofa, her hands stroking her lower abdomen. She suddenly asked, "Shu Jixia, have you always thought you were amazing, very capable, the main character of your own life story?" I frowned, unsure where that came from. "That's out of the blue." Cheng Mianmian seemed lost in thought. "When I graduated from vocational college, I stayed in this city and looked for many jobs, but those companies either looked down on my low academic qualifications or my lack of work experience. I interviewed with dozens of companies, and you were the only one who didn't mind my lack of experience and gave me a chance." At this point, she propped herself up with her hands and leaned back. She was probably too far along in her pregnancy. Sitting on the low sofa was clearly taking a toll on her. "But do you remember how you treated me all those years?" She was visibly upset. "I made one tiny mistake on a report, and you chewed me out for half an hour. All I did was book your flight an hour off, and you called me stupid and yelled at me for nearly 20 minutes in front of everyone. But I'm here to work, you pay me, and I put in the effort. I'm not your slave, Shu Jixia, and I'm certainly not your dog." Her eyes welled up slightly. It was as if the humiliation she had endured hadn't lessened one bit. She continued, Later, I worked my fingers to the bone, walked on eggshells at work, and went out of my way to please you, just so you'd give me the slightest bit of attention. But you're from the countryside too, so how dare you look down on me? How dare you marry such an outstanding man like Jiang Wen? I can't accept it. I nearly spat out the coffee I was drinking. Her logic left me utterly speechless. Cheng Mianmian, you're out of your mind. Please, go see a doctor. You say you just made a small mistake on a report, but do you realize that report goes to regulatory bodies? Your small error could lead to massive fines for the company. You delayed my flight by an hour, and because of that hour, I missed my connecting flight, which ruined my entire travel plan. Don't you deserve to be chewed out for that? My aunt, considering you're new, criticized you but also gave you a chance to improve. I can't believe you're holding a grudge over it. When it comes down to it, you and Jiang Wen are actually a pretty good match. There's no point in discussing this further. Dealing with such an ungrateful person is just a waste of my time. I smiled, feeling a sense of relief, and stood up to face her. You just want to be with Jiang Wen, don't you? I'll make sure that happens for you too. And I hope you two stay madly in love until your dying day. Cheng Mianmian's mouth twitched, then she looked up to meet my gaze. Her voice was incredibly firm. Of course, I'll be madly in love with him until my dying day. From now on, I'm the president's wife of a listed company, and you're just a divorced, second-hand good. As much as I want to slap her right now, but she's pregnant, and I don't want to cause myself unnecessary trouble just because of a moment of impulse. 8. I agreed to Jiang Wen's divorce terms. He didn't want to wait for that 1-month cooling-off period for the divorce. He was probably afraid I'd suddenly change my mind, so he hired a lawyer and filed for divorce directly with the court. After I signed the divorce agreement, Jiang Wen moved out of the villa. My in-laws rushed over from their hometown when they heard we were getting divorced. Jiang Wen and I both grew up in the countryside. However, my family was much better off than Jiang Wen's. My dad owned 2 mountains, one for ornamental trees and the other for fruit trees. The ornamental trees were all quite expensive varieties. When I got married, my dad gave me a card with 2 million yuan as part of my dowry. This was also the startup capital Jiang Wen used to launch his business. My in-laws are genuinely kind people, and because of that, they've always been particularly fond of me. The only thing that ever really bothered me was their constant urging for grandchildren. Otherwise, I couldn't find a single fault. My mother-in-law held my hand, wiping away tears, and told me not to worry, assuring me she'd make sure that scoundrel came to apologize to me. But she made dozens of calls. Her son didn't answer a single one, and eventually just blocked her. Her chest heaved with anger, and she pounded her chest, wailing, "How could our family produce such a scoundrel, a Chen Shimai? He's only been successful for a few days, and is already abandoning his own mother and his wife." Her father-in-law squatted on the balcony, sighing helplessly. Before she left, my mother-in-law repeatedly assured me that the Jiang family would only ever recognize me as their daughter-in-law, and no one else would ever be allowed through their doors. I gave a bitter smile but didn't say anything more. The baby Cheng Mianmian is carrying is their biological grandchild. Jiang Wen is their biological son. No matter how angry or resentful they were at that moment, blood is thicker than water, and in the end, they were still family. Jiang Wen moved in with Cheng Mianmian. Cheng Mianmian's daily WeChat moments were filled with all sorts of delicious food she prepared for Jiang Wen. Chopped chili fish head, spicy crayfish, laziji, spicy chicken. In the corner of every photo, Jiang Wen's well-defined hands would always be visible, along with his broad back. I burst out laughing as I looked at the array of fragrant, spicy, and delicious dishes. Dig in, let him enjoy his last few days of freedom. In just 2 weeks, I had the divorce decree in hand. Jiang Wen's assets were gradually transferred to my name. I used the money from the divorce settlement to register a new company, with business operations largely overlapping Jiang Wen's. Men will betray me, but my career and money won't. Site selection, renovation, staff recruitment, training, marketing. These took up a huge amount of my time. By the time the studio was up and running smoothly, half a year had already passed. I heard Cheng Mianmian's baby has already been born, and she's currently planning her wedding with Jiang Wen. A cold laugh echoed in my heart. I hope they'll like the wedding gift I send them. 9. Cheng Mianmian burst into my office just as I was seeing off a client I'd been discussing a partnership with. The moment she saw me, she charged at me like a madwoman. Xu Zhixia, you bitch, how dare you go to my hometown and spread rumors about me? I'm going to fight you. I scoffed. Rumors, you did it. And now you're afraid of people talking about it. Let me ask you one thing. Everything on those flyers. Did you say it yourself? After learning that Cheng Mianmian was going to marry Jiang Wen, I specifically went to Cheng Mianmian's hometown, handing out the beautifully designed flyers, pre-made by a design firm, to every single villager. The content was all about what she confessed to me at the coffee shop, how she betrayed trust, how she got involved with a married man, and how she used an unplanned pregnancy to force out his original wife. The designer intentionally made the font extra large, just in case the older villagers had trouble reading it. Cheng Mianmian's family had been bragging to everyone in the village about how amazing their daughter was. She'd snagged a young, promising CEO of a listed company. The Cheng family's constant boasting had already rubbed many people the wrong way. Now that everyone knew Cheng Mianmian was someone's mistress, people were practically crucifying her parents, even though Jiang Wen quickly bought them a house in the city, but for two people who had spent most of their lives in the countryside. All their social connections were with relatives and friends back home. No matter how hard they tried to hide, they couldn't escape the gossip and rumors. I didn't want to see Cheng Mianmian making a scene in my office, so I had two female colleagues escort her out. After the glass door was locked, she pounded on it, yelling, "Xu Zhixia, you just wait, I'm getting a lawyer to sue you. You'll be getting a court summons. Mark my words," I scoffed, completely unfazed. "Then I'll eagerly await the good news. You better keep your word. If the judge rules that I have to issue a public apology, then I'll release a statement across the entire internet, sincerely apologizing to you two, the scumbag and the slut." I bit out the word scumbag and the slut with extreme emphasis. Cheng Mianmian's face flushed with anger, then paled. I waved her off, then turned and strolled back into my office. 10, of course. I wasn't just going to deal with Cheng Mianmian and let that disgusting scumbag off scot-free. I just needed to wait for the perfect moment. Soon enough, that opportunity arrived. Jiang Wen Company's product, 3 years in the making, was about to launch. Over those 3 years, he poured immense capital and human resources into the new product, securing countless investments. This product, one could say, was Jiang Wen Company's make-or-break moment. A failure here could, at best, strain our cash flow, and at worst, lead to bankruptcy. Jiang Wen's company never had deep pockets to begin with. I advised him to keep things lean and not go public. Firstly, to avoid the pressure of financial disclosures, and secondly, to mitigate the risks associated with fundraising costs. Once a company goes public, even if you're the CEO, you no longer have absolute decision-making power. But he wouldn't listen at all, insisting on doing things his own way. Jiang Wen Company's new product launch date is set for March 18th. On March 17th, I first anonymously reported Jiang Wen Company to the tax authorities for tax evasion. Then, I reported Jiang Wen Company to the Administration for Industry and Commerce for false advertising and engaging in unfair competition. Finally, I reported Jiang Wen Company to the Labor Bureau for failing to pay Social Security contributions for all employees as required by law. I even wrote to the fire department, reporting Jiang Wen Company for inadequate fire safety equipment. Jiang Wen had just finished a new product launch this morning. In the afternoon, I had Song Wen help me release the video of my meeting with Cheng Mianmian. The video title is, President Jiang, known for his devoted husband persona, was married for 10 years, yet secretly cheated on his wife for 7. In the video, her friend's face was blurred out, her voice was also disguised, however. The name Jiang Wen, which she mentioned multiple times during their conversation, was crystal clear. Song Wen, already a relationship blogger with millions of followers, naturally generated buzz when her video was released. Besides promoting the video, I also reached out to several marketing accounts to re-edit and repost it. The top trending topic that day was Jiang Wen's company launching a new product. Trending topics 2 through 6 were all about Jiang Wen's marital infidelity. Jiang Wen and his company were both on fire. In just 3 trading days, Jiang Wen's company's stock price plummeted by 37%. effectively halving its market value. Their newly launched product was even met with resistance for a time. But that was just the beginning. 10. Jiang Wen was completely swamped. On one hand, he was spending money to suppress all the negative news about himself. On the other hand, he was busy dealing with the shareholders' accusations. I was in a great mood. So I invited some friends to have hot pot. The waiter led us to a small private room on the second floor. To our surprise, Jiang Wen and Cheng Mian were in the private room next door. We could hear their conversation clearly. Jiang Wen said, "I'm already annoyed enough as it is. Do you really have to drag me along to eat hot pot? Can't you just ask your own friends?" Cheng Mian pouted, "Oh, come on, I gave you a son and worked so hard breastfeeding him. I haven't had any strong-flavored food in over a year. Now that the baby's on formula, I just want to try something different. You know," Jiang Wen snapped, "if you hadn't gone and done something so stupid by confronting that woman, would those shareholders be yelling at me like this?" Cheng Mian whimpered, "She's had me under her thumb for so long. I've been your mistress like a rat in a gutter for years. I just wanted to get some revenge. How was I supposed to know she was so vicious and cunning that she'd get someone to film it? Honey, I know I messed up. It'll never happen again." Jiang Wen let out a heavy sigh. In the end, nothing more was said. After a short while, Jiang Wen's voice spoke again. "Let's switch to a clear broth pot. My stomach has been burning lately, and this spicy oil pot is just too hot and greasy." Cheng Mian didn't care at all. "I came specifically for the extra spicy pot. Didn't you used to love this place's flavor too?" Jiang Wen didn't respond. We were halfway through our hot pot meal. Suddenly, violent coughing erupted from the private room next door, growing louder and louder, then turning into vomiting. Curious to see what was happening, I quickly rushed out of our room. I pulled back the curtain of the room next door. Jiang Wen was leaning on the table, throwing up mouthfuls of fresh blood. Cheng Mian frantically shook Jiang Wen. Honey, what's wrong? Don't scare me." The restaurant staff immediately called 911. A crowd had gathered outside the private room, watching. The crowd only began to disperse gradually once the paramedics arrived. 11. Jiang Wen was hospitalized. After admission tests, he was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer. The cancer had spread throughout his body, with dozens of brain metastases even in his head. I posted the video online, the one I took at the hot pot restaurant, showing the ambulance taking Jiang Wen away. Spitting up blood, the revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Jiang Wen was already embroiled in a sex scandal. After its launch, the new product faced immense resistance, and now there's news of him spitting blood and being hospitalized. This sent investors into a panic, leading them to dump their shares. Jiang Wen Company's stock price plummeted like a free-falling object. The evaporating market value triggered a cascade of reactions. Banks urgently recalled credit lines and refused to provide new financial support. Partners started terminating their collaboration agreements one after another, and right at that moment, the straw that broke the camel's back arrived. News broke online that Jiang Wen Company was under investigation for tax evasion, had been summoned by the industrial and commercial authorities for unfair business practices, and fined by fire departments, among other issues. I knew Jiang Wen's company was on the verge of collapse. 12. Cheng Mian was stunned. She thought marrying Jiang Wen would bring endless wealth and luxury. But now, barely half a year later, Jiang Wen is not only gravely ill but also burdened with massive debt, due to the new product's consistently dismal sales. Jiang Wen's capital chain has broken. Jiang Wen was undergoing chemotherapy, confined to his hospital bed, no longer able to hustle around for new investments, worried about the company. He entrusted Cheng Mian with its management, yet, within just 2 weeks of taking over, Cheng Mian managed to offend a major shareholder and drive away a key company executive. Upon hearing this, Jiang Wen's condition worsened due to the stress. Unable to repay the loans, Jiang Wen's properties, cars, and other assets were successively seized by the court, and his company and personal bank accounts were frozen. The company's operations came to a complete standstill. But there were still employee salaries to be paid. Ultimately, bankruptcy liquidation became the only option. Just as Jiang Wen was on his last breath, Cheng Mian proposed a divorce. She didn't want custody of their child, she'd give it to Jiang Wen. After 2 days of consideration, Jiang Wen agreed. After they finalized the divorce, he desperately called me, wanting to see me one last time. Remembering how kind his parents had been to me, I went to the hospital. The moment I saw Jiang Wen, I was utterly shocked. His once handsome face was now skeletal, his cheeks so sunken it was terrifying, and his complexion a ghastly grey. Seeing me, he struggled to sit up, but after all that effort, it still ended in failure. I stood a meter from his bedside, watching him coldly. "Why did you call me here?" Jiang Wen was gasping for air, breathing heavily. "Jixia, I wanted to tell you I'm sorry, lying here in this hospital bed all these days. I've had a lot of time to think things through. I failed you, everything I've become today, I brought upon myself." Murky tears welled up in the corners of his eyes. My emotions remained completely still. I just watched him calmly. He struggled to pull a bank card from under his pillow. "This is where I've hidden my money. I opened an account with my mom's ID. There's over 2 million in it, and the password is your birthday." He started coughing violently again. Once his breathing steadied, he said in a hoarse voice, "My parents are getting old. After I'm gone, could you look after them for me? And, could you help my parents arrange my funeral?" I didn't take the bank card. Jiang Wen's arm, which he had struggled to lift, fell heavily back onto the bed. I replied, "I don't think I have time. You can ask Cheng Mian to take care of your parents. And you can entrust your funeral arrangements to her too. After all, she's your soulmate. I'm afraid I'd just dirty your path to reincarnation." Jiang Wen opened his mouth, but no words came out. "Jiang Wen, how dare you secretly give money to this woman behind my back? I didn't get a single cent from you when we divorced, and you're still thinking about other women." The ward door was violently kicked open. Cheng Mian, eyes bloodshot, started hitting Jiang Wen over the head with her bag. Once, twice, I didn't want to watch them tear each other apart, so I quietly left the room. As I passed the nurse's station, I informed them that there was a fight in room 702-13. Just a few days later, news broke of Jiang Wen's death. He could have lived longer, but after being violently beaten by Cheng Mian, he succumbed to his injuries after several days in the ICU. Cheng Mian was subsequently taken into police custody on suspicion of intentional assault. Severe legal repercussions now await her. Not long after Jiang Wen's funeral, an EMS envelope arrived for me at the office. It was from the oncology hospital. Inside, I found the bank card Jiang Wen had given me in his hospital room. He must have asked the hospital staff to send it to me just before he passed away. When we divorced, I'd already secured my rightful share of assets. I wanted nothing else from him, nor any lingering ties. I took my bank card and headed back to Jiang Wen's hometown. I handed the card over to his parents. Whether they used the money for their retirement or to raise Jiang Wen's son, it was no longer my concern. Jiang's mother invited me to stay for dinner, but I politely declined. I once had the privilege of being family with them for a period, but our paths have diverged, and it's time for us to go our separate ways. On the way back, the gloom of many days finally lifted completely, and the long-awaited sunlight broke through the clouds. I rolled down the window, and the breeze, fresh with the scent of rain, tousled my hair. A light press on the accelerator, and the car picked up speed. I'm heading towards a brand new chapter in my life. The end.